WN, Chapter 82, Everlasting Sacred Fire. Tang Hu? Tears began forming in Meng Jia's eyes when she looked at Tang Hu, whose appearance resembled a monster. This is what happens when you cultivate a depraved technique. You cut all your connections to the human realm and lose your humanity, becoming a depraved creature, said Su Yang, his expression calm despite the grave situation. Leave, if you do not want to see him die before your eyes. Is there really no other way? There must be something we can do to help him. Meng Jia cried out, clearly unwilling to see him die despite the terror he acted upon her. Su Yang remained silent. There are indeed methods that could still save Tang Hu even in his current state. However, such methods required resources and effort. It was something Su Yang wasn't willing to expend for a person like Tang Hu. I will not repeat myself. Leave, while you can, he said again. Meng Jia looked at Tang Hu's face one last time before nodding and turning to run outside. When Tang Hu noticed her movements, he pounced towards her to prevent her from escaping. Where do you think you were going, Meng Jia? He roared. Suddenly, Su Yang disappeared from his original spot and appeared before Tang Hu like a ghost. And where do you think you were going? Su Yang waved his sleeves, and a loud slap resounded an instant later. Pa. Tang Hu was sent flying backward by a casual slap from Su Yang, who was at the true spirit realm. Even if your cultivation base is increased by another 10 folds, you are still at the elementary spirit realm, not even qualified to fight those at the profound spirit realm, let alone me. Tang Hu coughed up a mouthful of blood from the impact of the slap. Although it seemed like a casual slap to the face, the force of that slap was strong enough to send him flying like a rag doll, and that caused a fearful feeling to appear deep in his heart. Ah, he roared, trying to scream the feeling of fear out of his body. A moment later, Tang Hu pounced at Su Yang again. HMPH, what a waste of my time. Su Yang shook his head and sighed. Choei, he suddenly called for her. An instant later, the door to his room abruptly opened, and a beauty that resembled a real goddess appeared from the room. When Choei emerged from Su Yang's room, Tang Hu's movements spontaneously froze. Despite his lack of ability to think or reason, Tang Hu couldn't help but stare at Chuyu's peerless face and graceful figure with a dazed expression, his red eyes seemingly mesmerized by her beauty. Su Yang raised an eyebrow at the situation. As expected of Yui's daughter, even her ability to charm men is similarly devastating. Chuyu's otherworldly beauty had managed to captivate Tang Hu, who had long lost his mind and ability to think. Why did you call for me, father? Surely, you can handle this ant by yourself. Choei looked at him and said, sounding puzzled. I don't want to stain this house with his blood, but alas, I am not at the level where I can erase someone without causing a bloody mess, he said with a regretful tone. Choei looked at him with an unbelievable face. After a moment of silence, she spoke. I can take care of him for you, but you will explain to me your relationship with that little girl just now and how far you have gone with her. Su Yang smiled bitterly and said, there is nothing between us, and I doubt that even you were fooled by my little act just now. HMPH, I just wanted to make sure, she said with a cute pouting expression. A moment later, Choei narrowed her gaze, and a tyrannical pressure suddenly forced the still dazed Tang Hu to drop to the floor with his face kissing the ground. With a cold expression on her flawless face, she spoke. Disappear, you insignificant ant. Suddenly, a small silver flame the size of a candle fire appeared directly on Tang Hu's forehead. This small flame quickly expanded, and within seconds, consumed Tang Hu's entire body. Tang Hu rolled around on the floor while screaming in agony, trying to disperse the flame, but alas, the silver fire continued to burn lively. And strangely, the silver flame did not spread outside of Tang Hu's body when he rolled around, nor did it burn anything besides his body. When Su Yang first noticed the silver fire, a glint of surprise flickered within his eyes. Everlasting sacred fire. He easily recognized the type of fire Choei was using, as her mother also cultivated the same technique. It was a terrifying technique that cultivates a profound fire that would not stop burning until its target completely disappears, leaving not even the ashes behind. And within seconds, Tang Hu's body was reduced to being nothing. His entire existence had been erased by the everlasting sacred fire, leaving not even a speck of ash behind. I'm surprised, Su Yang suddenly said. He looked at Choei with a proud look on his face and continued. I have known you since you were a baby, and you were cultivating a different technique prior to my departure. But now, out of all the profound techniques that you could have cultivated from the sacred moon palace, you decided to change to the everlasting sacred fire technique that your mother also cultivated. Why? It's simple, because my mother treasured this technique more than any techniques that were available at the sacred moon palace, she replied. Then what do you think of the technique? Do you like it? I love it, she instantly replied with a beautiful smile. Although it may not be as strong as the strongest techniques within the sacred moon palace, I feel the most comfortable when cultivating the everlasting sacred fire. Is that so? Said Su Yang, showing a tender smile. What is it? Choei said, looking puzzled by his reaction. Well, you see, that technique was a gift to your mother from me, he said, shocking Choei, who never learned the origin of the technique. Father gave this technique to mother? She mumbled.